Hello guys, good morning. Welcome to the LFC Journal. I'm Owen James. Guys, this is all your Liverpool news here on the 2nd of January. We're now into the year 2026. It is the second day of that year, and it didn't start well, did it, really? We'll talk a little bit about, just briefly mentioned last night, there is a reaction video on the channel if you want to see more of that. Obviously, please check that video out. It was released last night after the game. We'll also talk Joel Ordoñez. That deal looks to be very much closing in on being completed by the club, so we are being told by very reliable sources. We're also going to talk a bit of Alexis Mac Allister to Real Madrid, and a little bit of a story around Harvey Elliott that to me still doesn't make any sense and is truly baffling. And I want to get your take on the whole Harvey Elliott thing. Guys, I'm not at home again. I am out and about, but I'm determined to keep bringing you content, keep bringing you all the latest news and views here on the LFC Journal. So if you've just found the channel, if you're a diehard Liverpool fan, you want to help us found the community here on the channel, a channel where your voice actually matters. Please obviously hit that sub, ring that notification bell, help the channel to keep on growing. Let's start off with the situation around this man here, Joel Ordoñez, the 21-year-old Ecuadorian defender, currently with Club Brugge, whatever you want to call him, in Belgium. Now, I brought you out, if you want to know more about him, there is a video on the channel. Got fantastic views, got over 2,000 views the other day. It's sensational centre-back signing or something along those lines, guys. Check it out. Ordoñez looks to be a very good footballer. I've checked out some of his videos, watched some of his games. No, not just YouTube clips, guys. Not just YouTube clips. He looks a top talent. He really does. He's 21 years old. He's still developing. Obviously, he's still improving all the time. So this is a player, obviously, that is also interesting into Milan and was on Chelsea's radar. But obviously, they have taken a step back in recent times. This is a player who I think Liverpool feel can come in and be a part of the club and a part of what is good, a part of building this centre-back room, which is certainly something we need to do. He's got a good and varied experience. Obviously played Champions League football, played Conference League football, played got a lot of European experience, as well as obviously experience at the top end of the Belgian Pro League or the Jupiler League, whatever you want to call it. Now, according to reports that we're reading, is that Liverpool have met with the player and his representatives and now just looking at finalising the deal with Club Brugge. And this deal could be finalised in the next sort of day or two. The fee is rumoured to be around £35 million for the centre-back. And it's been described as a very FSG signing, a very Michael Edwards type signing. Not top dollar, not in the same bracket as the summer business. But certainly a player who, very much fits the mould of what we do normally at Liverpool, which is we buy players, we develop them, we make our own superstars. We don't buy ready-made superstars. And Joel Ordoñez certainly seems to fit that. He's quick, he's strong, he's good on the ball, he's aggressive. He's obviously still young and developing. He said he would fit the mould of what Liverpool are looking for, and I think he certainly would be a quality acquisition. And I think he's a player as well who could form part of that rotation at the centre back pairing with Ibu Konate, no matter what his future holds, and of course Virgil van Dijk. With the news obviously that Giovanni Leone is gone for the season. Liverpool want to wait till the summer to move for Mark Gahey, and of course the news of Joe Gomez. Well, who knows what the hell is happening with his injury? It doesn't seem to be very positive, does it? So Joel Ordoñez appears to be moving closer. That is good news. Some good and positive news this morning. Now, look, I wanted to start with that because I want to start on the positive. A bit of positive news, a bit of good news. Obviously, last night wasn't great news. Last night was diabolical. The performance was just there was nothing there. There was no aggression. There was no speed to the play. We were done by a low block. Look, as I say it again, fair play Leeds United. You came with a game plan. You got your point. You did exactly what you wanted to do. And fair play to them. Don't blame them, guys. They're not going to come out and play. They're not going to come out and go toe-to-toe because they know what will happen. So, look, fair play to them. They came out and did a job on us. And Liverpool played straight into the trap. They played slow, monotonous, boring football. And you've got to say at this moment in time, slot ball and Liverpool are excruciatingly boring to watch. They are, as I think one commenter on the video yesterday commented, we're a cure for insomnia. It's excruciating. So Chloe Bloxham said on Redmen the other day, 100% agree with it, it's excruciating. It's boring. It's crap. It's what it is. The football is crap. Arne Slot's taken a team last season that played aggressive, attacking, quick counter-attacking, fast, aggressive football, won a league title, ripped it up, brought in new players and just made them worse, made the team worse, made it boring to watch. We've become, in effect, Moments FC. And what do I mean by Moments FC? Well, we rely on individual moments of brilliance from individual players to win games. And if you go back and look at a lot of the goals that have won the games over the last sort of 8 undefeated, and yes, we are 8 undefeated, but, it's not been great, has it? It's down to individual moments of brilliance. The brilliant pass and finish by Isak to Wirtz to Isak in the Spurs game. Ekitike's moments of brilliance, Wirtz's moments of brilliance. It's been individual moments of brilliance that have won us games, not team performances that have won us games. So we've become Moments FC. We've become a team reliant on individuals doing something amazing to get the manager out of jail. And the manager himself doesn't seem to have a response to when Moments FC doesn't work. His response seems to be to throw every single player onto the pitch who's remotely attacking. It's that old saying, isn't it? If you throw enough shit at the wall, you've got to hope someone's going to stick. And I think that's what Slot does a lot of the time. His in-game management is very, very poor. And like I said, that last night was just a clarification of that. It was awful. I think the one positive from last night, Rio and Gamoa, was fantastic when he came on. Garbage time minutes, unfortunately for him, but he made a difference. He went at players, he went past players, he created more chances in the 14 minutes he was on than Gakpo and Frimpong did across the whole game. So you can have these other podcasts that'll come out and try and brown nose the club and brown nose what's going on with their sort of overtly happy clapper positive attitude, but we've got to look at this as it was, and Gamoa was the one bright spark for me last night. He really was fantastic when he came on, a breath of fresh air. But he won't get a game against Arsenal. We know that, I know that, you know that, because Slot won't use him, when I would actually stick him in there. What have you got to lose? He's better than Gakpo. Oh well, that's the situation, guys. It is what it is. We slipped up last night, 12 points behind Arsenal. We are 4th, I suppose it is a positive. I think it's a battle to keep the 4th. I think the one thing that could actually keep us 4th is the chaos at Chelsea and the fact that Manchester United are just absolute shite. This league is a very, very weird Premier League this season. It is a deeply, deeply weird Premier League. Other news that came out yesterday around this man, Alexis Mac Allister. Now, there are reports going round, I don't know how true they are, that Mac Allister's representatives and Mac Allister spoke with representatives from Real Madrid in the summer. I don't know that I kind of question the validity of Mac Allister because it's tapping up, it's not allowed. But we all know there are back channels, there are ways that teams can do that. We all know that. Reading Stephen Gerrard's book, we know that it goes on. And that Madrid were reportedly interested in Mac Allister, that Xabi Alonso likes Mac Allister, thinks he can fit into his system, thinks he would be a great player for Real Madrid. And it's always been a kind of suspicion that Mac Allister would actually want to go and play in La Liga at some point. But Mac Allister, respect to him, obviously is under contract. There has been talks of an extension, but he's always said that if he leaves Liverpool, he wants it to be on an amicable basis. With respect to him. Now, Mac has not been in the best of form this season. This Real Madrid talk could be part of it, I guess. Head's gone a little bit, head's turned a little bit, but his form hasn't been great because, I don't think he's been fully fit. I think he missed a lot of pre-season, and we saw last year with Andy Robertson, when players miss a lot of pre-season, it does affect them because they takes them time to get up to speed, time to get back to what they were. Mac Allister last season was a phenomenal player. And looked like what he is, one of the best midfielders in world football, whereas this season he's really struggling, like the team, and perhaps the team's struggles and the way that Slot is using him or what Slot is asking him to do is actually affecting him. However, it now emerges that Real Madrid have cooled any interest in Alexis Mac Allister and turned their attentions elsewhere. Looking at younger players. Apparently that is the story that is coming out of Real Madrid leaning publications within Spain, which is good news for Liverpool, because this means, of course, that hopefully we can tie Alexis Mac Allister down to a longer term contract at the club and keep him at Liverpool for the foreseeable future, the same way, of course, that we're currently negotiating with Dom Szoboszlai and Ryan Gravenberch. I think, again, both players that need to be tied down to longer term contracts. Both players who are, I think, a fundamental part of this club going forward. So look, that's a bit of positivity. Like I said, after last night was not positive at all. Alexis, for me, is a top midfielder and will go on to continue to be a top midfielder. I think he does need to find his form again, but once he does, I think he will be off and running. Right, let's talk a little bit of Harvey Elliott. Now, Harvey Elliott, of course, as we know, went off on loan to Aston Villa at the start of the season. We know, of course, that Elliott's gone there. The expectation was he plays 10 games. They then pay 35 million for him. Everyone's happy because Harvey's getting first team football. He's found himself a team. We're not happy, I suppose, because we lose Harvey Elliott, who, you know, I always liked Harvey. He's a good player. He loves the club. He's always runs himself into the ground for the club. He worked well under Klopp. Klopp rated him. I think he's a good player. Now he's gone to Villa, and it's been a bit of a nightmare. You know, he was bought by Monkey, who's now gone. Emery doesn't really want him. He's kind of down the pecking order. So there's been talk, of course, that Liverpool could, of course, recall him. Now, there is no recall clause in his loan agreement. That has been confirmed by multiple sources close to Liverpool Football Club, that there is no recall clause in the contract. Now, the only way that loan agreement, could be ended is if Aston Villa terminate it. Now, if Villa terminate the loan agreement, they will have to pay a fee, a penalty clause in effect for terminating the agreement. It appears that Villa are not willing to do that, and we're looking for Liverpool to negotiate a way out of this for them, because it's clear that Emery doesn't want Elliott, doesn't see him as part of his plans, and basically he won't feature for Villa at all this season. And if he does, it perhaps will be under 21 games or reserve games or whatever. He's not part of the plan for Villa going forward. They don't want to trigger the 10 games. They don't want to trigger the transfer fee. Now, Slot, when he was questioned, obviously, about Harvey Elliott, said, he's a Villa player, ask Unai Emery. It's become sort of clear that, for whatever reason, Slot doesn't rate Elliott. I don't know what the reason is. I don't know why he doesn't like him. And we saw that last season. In the fact, he was criminally underused, and the times he did actually come on, he actually made a positive effect, being Paris Saint-Germain away, for example. And I still feel that this season, with the injuries we've got, with the lack of form and the lack of depth, and the fact that the manager doesn't trust Rio, doesn't trust Chiesa, in those forward positions, and in fact, Isak's out as well. Salah's at AFCON. Gakpo looks dreadful. You know, he could be a squad player. He could be part of that rotation. However, it appears that Slot doesn't want him back at the club. Liverpool will not try to bring him back in January under any circumstances. They will leave him at Villa for the season. Now, this to me doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why leave a player that we still own and will still own at the end of this season, because he's going to come back to the club because Villa are not going to trigger the fee? Why would we let a player just rot in Villa's reserves? Yes, he's training every day with Villa's first team squad, obviously, so we've got that, but he's got no match sharpness. You're effectively getting back a player that hasn't developed, that has stood still, or even gone backwards, perhaps. It just makes no sense, and it's all part of this, I think, wider bad man management by Arne Slot. You know, Klopp treated the players and everyone at the club as like a family, and I think that was a massive part of what made Liverpool successful. To me, Arne Slot's kind of ripped that up, and it's kind of, he has his favourites and has those people he likes and doesn't like, and if you don't not like, if your face doesn't fit, then you might as well just forget it. And that appears to be the situation with Harvey. And like I said, I don't understand this situation, why Slot would force him out this way, and why the club would allow Slot to do it. I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand it. Guys, I'd love to know your thoughts on that. What do you think about this whole Harvey Elliott situation? What do you think about the transfer, obviously, with Ordoñez that likely will go ahead? And what do you think of the Alexis Mac Allister news? And also give me your impressions of last night's game. Thank you for watching the LFC Journal. If you enjoyed the content, obviously like, comment and share the video. But more importantly, guys, please subscribe and obviously ring the bell as we seek to develop the channel and really grow the channel over the next 12 months here in 2026. Exciting plans. Let's get to that 1K ASAP, and we can do even more with the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.